This Black Friday until Cyber Monday, you are going to want to head on over to practiceofthepractice.com/deal. I'm telling you, it's our biggest deals of the year. Make sure you put it in your calendar for that weekend. New membership in regards to our Practice Academy program is 40% off. 40% off of all memberships. Also, our conference tickets for the group practice conference that's May 4th and 5th here in Traverse City are the best deal you're going to find, and that's $199 per ticket, so $200 off. Early bird starts the next day on Tuesday, December 2nd. You're going to want to head over to practiceofthepractice.com/deal and use the Stripe promo code CYBER25. Use that for both offers. So again, the Practice Academy is on sale, 40% off. As well, we're going to have the group practice conference tickets, $200 off. That's the same price as what our members get it at. Then it goes up to $299. So again, practiceofthepractice.com/deal. Use Cyber25. This is going to be from Friday, November 28th to Monday, December 1st. The sale ends at midnight going into December 2nd. This is the Practice of the Practice podcast with Joe Santa, session number 1304. Thanks for hanging out. So this project is, so I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm just thinking about how it's like we teach people how to build private practices all the time, and I'm outside of my non-compete clause for when I sold mental wellness counseling, and just thinking like, could I start a private practice publicly from scratch? And so this is week 3 of it. So limiting myself to just 2 hours a week, whether it's talking to people like you or other things. So this week I'm talking to you and Dan King. And then next week I'm talking to John, who there's some legal stuff where he may not be able to talk as my attorney, but who knows? We'll figure that part out. And then Jeremy Zug talking about kind of practice billing. So the idea is just I spend 2 hours a week gathering information, using and leveraging my connections for me to have very little cost in starting it, but then publicly disclosing, hey, the services Tom's offering, for example, would cost about this much at the time of this recording. You get to have some promo for session sites, and then we publicly just kind of talk through your whole process of getting a website going. So the way I'm seeing this is just you talking to me like I'm a new client, and us talking through what I'm thinking. And then also if there's stuff that we kind of pause that discussion and say, hey, let's talk about the relationship of you helping Joe as practice the practice. We can do that too. So that's the quick summary.
Awesome. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know how many people have like publicly like built a private practice like this. So
I mean, building in public, you know, I like to I like to kind of trespass in the SaaS world. So like, you know, software builders, people who are, you know, actually inventing tomorrow's technology. So you know, on Twitter and LinkedIn and all that, building in public has been huge for over a decade. So it's exciting to see that trickle into an unlikely sector. So I'm super excited to be part of it. Promotion for session sites aside, this is really cool. I'm excited.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah. I feel like it'll be interesting to even sort through like, you know, like Jeremy Zug with Practice Solutions, you know, they do billing, and then Headway, you know, does billing also. And so it's interesting because I like them both for different reasons. And so wherever I end up landing with that, or there's just so many different things to think through that, you know, I haven't had to wear that hat in a long time.
Yeah. And I think you're hitting kind of the same wall a lot of therapists run into when they're starting their own practice, is that kind of option fatigue. I mean, for every single piece of the practice, from billing to phone services, web design services, ad managers, everything in between, you have 20 choices. Like, where do you begin? You just get exhausted and overwhelmed very easily.
Yeah, totally. And I know these people, you know, it's like I can like go to the owners of a lot of them and be like, hey, you know, help me out here. So where we've landed with this project so far is I think that GreatLakesOnlineCounseling.com is the site out of all the sites that I own that I think makes the most sense. I know I sent you a whole bunch of them. Is that the site that to you makes the most sense for this project probably?
they say a logo is what somebody sees when they think of your business. A brand is what somebody feels.
Mm,
And when you say Great Lakes, I'm just like fall foliage, crystal clear waters, sun
mm.
glistening off the waves. I love it. It's tranquility encompassed into a practice name. So absolutely.
Okay,
I'm all in. Yep.
cool. Well, let's keep that then as the working title for our project. And then I think it's interesting because I bought so many other like New York online counseling. I think was one of them. And there's like, man, this could be a rinse and repeat type of thing too. So um, cool. So what else would you need to know from an onboarding standpoint to start working on the website?
So usually, I mean, with my clients, I don't know if you want to, maybe we can make this, maybe we should discuss how to make this all more public. But when I onboard a client, I do ask that they fill out an onboarding questionnaire.
Okay.
Um, and it's not as cringy as it sounds. I think people have really enjoyed my onboarding form because it's not your traditional write all your content for me form. It's more or less me really getting to the bottom of what makes your practice unique, what makes you special, and really making sure that we're crystal clear on who your ideal fit client is. So in my projects, I write all the content for my clients. So
Mm,
it's really about me gleaning that information from the practice owner right off the bat. Once I have answers to those questions, I'm really off to the races for the most part.
mm.
My clients kind of have varying interest in their involvement throughout the process, but I would say 90% of the time I am heads down, pencils down, just working on their stuff. And
Yeah.
they kind of just see it at the end and love it. And any tweaks we need, we take care of before launch. But yeah, it's a pretty hands-off process for the practice owner.
Okay. So it's interesting because I'm probably flipping it a little bit. So thinking about how the average practice owner knows, like I'm EMDR certified and I focus on trauma or I only work with kids, being that I'm just starting this practice as a project and saying I'm going to be the owner, not the clinician. In a few ways, we can kind of do some SEO work for specifically like New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan are the first three states that we've identified have the highest billing and the most need for online counseling. And so is it worth us doing some like SEO work to see if there's areas that have really low competition but high search results? Like if we just viewed this as a building a practice that's most likely to succeed with me not caring what the niche is, opening that kind of door for you, like where does your head go?
Are you considering any niches besides geographical?
I mean, there's ones that I have a sense tend to do better. It seems like EMDR or trauma-based therapy or complex trauma is one that people need a lot of work in. I know that personally, like being a dad that's raising daughters on his own, like there's that kind of like men raising kids kind of niche that I've considered, just because I personally know that I could like do blogs about that all day long or do all sorts of promo videos around that. I tend to lean towards more of like a Taoist point of view in regards to not being super like Western religion. And so I don't know that I would have that be in the practice, but I think that definitely having open-mindedness in regards to not injuring other people or being too politically harsh, maybe. Yeah. But it's also one of those like I'm kind of thinking through that. If it was just going to be me, I could definitely be like, yeah, I'm helping men in transition that have primary custody of their children, and that would be like easy to fill up because there's not a whole lot of guys that are in that situation, and I'm not going to be the primary clinician with this.
Yeah, a lot of my clients kind of face that same uh, keyword strategy conundrum, especially as they onboard new clinicians. In essence, their service menu expands with every new clinician that they onboard. So, yeah, you're not alone there.
Yeah, knowing that we're going to be helping, like, probably be on one insurance in each state, like, whichever is kind of the highest paying initially, and then moving into probably private pay, I imagine having something that's more private pay-esque, that people are willing to pay out of pocket. So whether that's high achievers or helping, C-suite or working professionals could be part of it. It also feels like, as I'm saying this, like we're kind of like losing the soul of the whole reason people are going to counseling. It's like whatever makes the money. So I think realizing the emotions of just creating a company for the sake of starting a company publicly is something I'm recognizing as I'm even saying this out loud. I'm like, God, am I just part of the problem?
No, I mean, that's the therapist in you, and everyone struggles with that. It's really my job to see your visitors as numbers and dollars and all that. You can continue to see the good in what you do, and I'll hide all that from you.
If you were given free reign over a website that you think would be most successful in those 3 states, I guess what research would you do, and then how would you land on kind of the copy?
So let's back up a sec to kind of talk about our disadvantage with being a virtual practice. From an SEO standpoint, we're already starting off behind the 8 ball. We don't have a physical address, and Google is going to be super confused right off the bat on where we are, who we serve, and what our service area is. We're not going to be able to be in the Google Maps 3-pack. We're not going to necessarily be able to have a Google business listing. This is not like the end of the road. This is what's fun about this challenge. So we're taking a fully virtual practice and really trying to make it successful strictly through organic search. So yes, the market kind of dwindles after the 3-pack, if you're familiar. Those first 3 local listings when anyone Googles a service provider. But the volume for Google in general is so high that it's not like you can't run a business that doesn't appear in that 3-pack. Plenty of people scroll beyond that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to really focus on the geography of this. So right off the bat, I would definitely recommend location-specific pages at the very least statewide. But man, I would love to go into it with the understanding that we eventually want to, one by one, add more hyper-local pages as sub-pages of each of those. For cities, major metro areas. It doesn't have to be every little one.
So what comes to mind in Michigan, because I know Michigan way better than like Pennsylvania and New York, is like Traverse City and Leelanau County, Northwest Michigan is one of the most affluent areas. Saugatuck in Southwest Michigan, and then Bloomfield Hills on Southeast Michigan are the 3 that really like those kind of areas. And then there's, of course, like the Grand Rapids, the Detroits, and things like that are just bigger. Those are some of the smaller markets that may be worth focusing in on.
For sure. And, it's each of those pages needs to have unique content. They can't necessarily be copy paste duplicates of each other with just the location changed at the top of the page. So we really have to be thoughtful about speaking to the people in that area, really honing in on the services that might apply most to them, sprinkling some local keywords to keep it, fresh and relevant to that city. But again, this is a fun challenge.
I want to thank Headway for sponsoring this episode. If you run a group practice, you know that accepting insurance can be overwhelming. Between credentialing, billing, and payroll, the admin side can easily take over your week. Headway was built to help you handle this, and they're the only platform designed specifically for in-network group practices. Whether you're growing your team or running an established practice, Headway makes the business side easier with faster credentialing, higher per-session rates, and bi-weekly payments your team can count on. They work with therapy, psychiatric, and hybrid group practices. There are no subscription fees, just the support you need to run your practice with ease. Run your best group practice with Headway, trusted by thousands of group practice leaders to simplify insurance admin and reach more people through in-network care. Curious how Headway can work for you? Head to join.headway.co/Joe. That's join.headway.co/Joe to learn more. Is this the stuff that I would be doing or that you would be doing to figure out that, or would it be combined?
Maybe to be determined.
Sure.
I would hope to get to maybe nail down my involvement in this a little bit more than I currently am, because this project is as big as you want it to be.
Yeah.
You start getting into the like sub-location pages. I mean, there could be 40 pages on this website when all is said and done. You never know. And anyone that knows me knows I don't really believe in 30-page therapy websites. They're not serving anybody. But from from an organic SEO standpoint, I do think that that is the route to go in this case.
Okay.
So, that alone is time consuming. But
Sure.
maybe we can talk about that here or a next session or however you want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe it's worth starting with like one area in each state that we focus on, see how that's doing, see what we learn from it, and then maybe replicate that process.
I like that idea.
Yeah, because then that narrows it down to, and we may just see that we get 50% of the traffic from Michigan and 10% from Pennsylvania. So it may be where do we put our time to be most successful?
Yeah, and the 80/20 rule usually applies here. And after we have some analytics to look back on, we'll be able to make those determinations because who knows, maybe one of our assumptions on one of the states that we've chosen or one of the cities within those states is not hitting like we thought it was gonna. So, cut ties with that and really focus on what's bringing in 80% of our interest.
Yeah. And from a business building standpoint, do you see any difference between working with like an Alma or a Headway versus like doing it yourself, or is that just not even part of your algorithm?
That's out of my sphere.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all just the billing side. Okay. Um,
I will say
cool. Yeah.
I don't know if the average visitor who lands on a therapist website knows too much about Alma or Headway before they visit that website. So there's like an education portion, and of course there's the referrals that come from those sources.
Sure.
But people who land on your site first, there's definitely an opportunity to inform them on what that means for them, and definitely take advantage of that if you're a provider for one of those services.
Okay, cool. So do you want me to fill out that onboarding form, or do you want me to just kind of hand it over to you to be off and running with whatever SEO you think is best?
Would you mind filling it out?
No, that's
That'd be
fine.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So I'll have that on my to-do list to do after we talk. What else do you want to know before the onboarding form?
Let me see. I did take some notes here, but you've been thorough as always. What's your ideal timeline? You said 2 hours a week. When would you like to be up and running?
Yeah, so of the people I've reached out to, you were, of course, the first to take action. You always get moved in quickly. So I'm talking with Dan later this week, and then David and Jeremy next week. That was just a scheduling thing. So that'll be like an hour for each of those half-hour interviews, and then I'll have like an hour to work on like your onboarding. So I need to find out. So the attorney side, I need to look at where to have my LLC. So Practice of the Practice is in Wyoming because we're national and we, from a state standpoint. So being in a lower tax state is something I'm considering. But then I got to make sure that if I got to determine W-2 versus 1099, I'm leaning towards W-2s. But then we have to look at like from a business licensure standpoint. So with you, it wouldn't matter when I file for the LLC. So, I mean, within like your typical 2 to 4 weeks of launching the website. But I also recognize you're doing this as just kind of a side project too. So I'll take whatever you can give.
Yeah. Yeah, you might have to go to the back of the line, unfortunately, but that's all right. I'll be interested to hear when you talk to the attorney. Some of my clients, and I think this is a state-based thing, when you have a cutesy, like marketing-friendly name for your practice, sometimes there's some limitations and stipulations on how that's treated on your website. So What I mean by that, and I don't claim to have any legal knowledge of this. I just
Yeah.
know what my clients tell me. Let's say you name your practice Great Lakes Counseling. There are some states that require you to kind of define who the lead therapist is underneath the logo and all mentions of that
Mm,
practice. Some are more lax. We are dealing with 3 states here, so I'll be interested to hear what your attorney says about that,
yeah.
because it definitely matters when it comes to the visual brand as well.
And ideally, I'd like to eventually have a therapist that can serve every single one of the Great Lakes states, that we genuinely can say every Great Lakes state we cover, to just prove that model. And it may be we get in so deep that we say this isn't worth it too. I don't want to have that sunk cost fallacy too. But to at least start with like the 3 best paying states or so it seems.
Yeah, yeah. What about the visual brand? Have you thought about like the logo or anything like that? Is that in my court? Are you going elsewhere for that?
I mean, the stuff that I've seen you do with a lot of our clients that didn't have logos has been awesome. And so I feel like your visual design on top of your website design, like, always seems to match really well. So I'd be fine with it being in your court if you have kind of a feeling of what would work.
Yeah, I almost insist on it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. No,
because
I mean, like the stuff you do looks so good. So I would rather have it all under your umbrella.
nothing's more painful than a beautiful new website that's kind of dragged down by a logo that doesn't quite hit the mark. So yeah, that's great. No
Cool.
problem.
And what kind of timeline do you think you're looking at from your side?
So am I also putting 2 hours a week into this, or is that just your involvement?
I'm just saying that I'm only putting in 2 hours a week into like how much I will do, and then the partners that are a part of this, like whatever you can do to help launch this thing.
All right. Yeah, I mean, people know we move pretty fast here at Session Sites, but yeah, let's be really safe and let's give you a month.
Okay.
Aim for Thanksgiving.
Okay. Cool. And I imagine with most projects, it's the therapist filling out the onboarding form that slows things down the most.
Yeah, and you can take as much time or as little time as you need for that.
Okay.
Obviously, the more you can give me, the better your website's going to turn out.
Sweet. Well, I'll try to like focus in on some of the like SEO and specialty and niche and all of that too, to just kind of look at what direction we might want to head with it.
I'm curious, like maybe this is a chicken and the egg question, but when do you plan on onboarding your first clinician?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to start getting people in there, like in like early of next year.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I think it's going to be also if I decide to do like a combination of like getting credentialed and doing our own billing. Like I was in the last episode when I was talking about it, saying, well, I kind of want to just build it on my own and have the billing and credentialing internal versus, working with like a Headway where it could be a lot faster and move forward quicker. That's where I think talking with Dan and with John and with Jeremy and kind of getting all these different, and Kay is going to talk about credentialing, to talk through those things. I imagine if we're doing our own credentialing, that's talking hiring somebody, then waiting for all that credentialing to go through. So it could take a while. So I just want to make sure I fully understand that whole timeline before we like put a job offer out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, we'll see how this goes.
And I will say, I think in this case, again, since we don't have a physical address, we won't have a Google Maps listing. We really need to take advantage of every possible backlink, and because it's all about demonstrating expertise and authority. And we're starting from zero. There's no age to the domain name. There's no history with the website.
Yeah.
So we really need to take advantage of every possible opportunity out there. So obviously Psychology Today, but I'm talking the next 10 little niche ones, directories that are out there, all the social media. It's going to be paramount, honestly. And that kind of makes up for us not having a physical address in Google's eyes.
Okay. Now, are there ways that people staying within Google's policies get around that? Or is there no way to really get around that
I definitely don't put myself out there as a Google business profile expert. I know enough to be dangerous, and I know what my clients tell me about their struggles with it. There used to be like this Wild West time with Google listings where they would just send you a postcard in the mail with a 4-digit code on the back, and that was it. You were approved for life. Even if your address changed, they didn't question it. Those days are over. They are really making people work for it now. I don't know for a fact if you can list a business without a physical address. And the hoops they make you jump through to prove that physical address are insane. They're not letting anyone through with co-working spaces. I mean, they are really putting their foot down. So it's frustrating.
So it's probably also something that I wouldn't want my home address on there, because then that's going to be on there.
I mean, they might even still make you prove, like, they're going to want permanent commercial signage on your house. And they're going to make you do a video walkthrough to prove that it's set up for business. Probably not worth it. And then, the security of having your home address on there isn't ideal.
All right. I mean, we're running into all the things that people deal with when they're starting a practice. So this is super helpful. What else should I know before I fill out the onboarding form?
That's about it. Let me know if you have any questions once I send you the link, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. We'll check in soon. You and I can just text as to, after I get the onboarding form, as to when we want to talk publicly about this more.
Awesome.
Thanks,
I'm excited.
Tom.
Thank you.
See you, man.
Bye.
We could not do this show without our amazing sponsors. And today, Headway is our sponsor. If you are looking for help running your practice and want the best group practice you can have, you're going to want to sign up with Headway. They are trusted by thousands of group practice leaders to simplify their insurance admin and reach more people through in-network care. If you're curious about how Headway can help work for you, head on over to join.headway.co/Joe. That's join.headway.co/Joe to learn more. Thank you for letting me into your ears and into your brain. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Special thanks to the band Silence is Sexy for that intro music, and this podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, the producers, the publishers, or guests are rendering legal, accounting, clinical, or other professional information. If you want a professional, you should find one.